So laying on our side for the first one, which we call the reverse clam, okay? Sometimes we call it the clam windscreen wiper because you'll see in a moment that the lower part of your leg acts like a windscreen wiper. Now, we lay on our side with our feet as if it's up against a wall, okay, with our backside against that wall and our shoulders against the wall, so we make a nice straight line in that angle. With our legs comfortably bent, you know, just down from 90 degrees with the knees, and then at about that sort of 45-degree angle, that oblique angle. So that to start with, we just gently lift that top leg up so that there's just a small gap in between the knees, usually about, say, 5 centimetres or 2 inches. We maintain that height so that we're hovering the knee, and then effectively we start with our heels touching together, and then we pivot up and down, up and down. Okay, so a nice gentle pivot movement. As we do that and as the repetitions go by, we'll start to feel it using that top glute muscle, okay? And that effectively is creating that extra muscle activity that we need to help stabilise the hip. So no matter what condition it is, this is a really good one that will help with that hip stability. It's a rare movement that we do. This one's a bit of an unusual one, so it does work a muscle around through the glute that we're not used to working. We generally knock out anywhere from 10 to 12 to 15 up to 20 of these repetitions. Once you get to 20, you can progress the exercise by simply putting a very small weight on that top ankle, such as a heat pack or a folded up towel or anything like that, just balancing it on the side of the foot and the ankle, and then going back to the exercise with the knees separated. Okay, so that's a neat little exercise to start with. We call that the reverse clam, sometimes the clam windscreen wiper. Now the next exercise we can do laying on our back, okay, where we call this one the glute bridge. Now you can do this with 2 feet, where we come up, driving up, creating that bridging type of movement. That's a fairly easy exercise, so most of the time we tend to do what we call the glute bridge 2-1-2, okay? The reason we call it the 2-1-2 is we come up on 2 legs, holding that position, keeping everything nice and comfortable, and then we go onto 1 leg by straightening that out. You'll notice my thighs stay parallel with that, and then we hold there for a couple of seconds, back to 2 feet, and then the bum comes back down. And then alternatively, we lift up again, straightening out the other foot, hovering for 2 to 3 seconds, sometimes up to 5 seconds, back to 2, and then back down to the ground, okay? And we'll alternate which leg we're doing for as many repetitions as we need to do. Sometimes, again, it could be 10, so with 5 on each side, or we could do 12 or 15 or even more. Once we get beyond that exercise, we can start to do just a single leg glute bridge where we're just driving up with the 1 leg, and that's a great progression for this exercise. So lifting up like so, holding for a few seconds, and then coming back down, swapping over legs, straightening up, lifting up, hovering for a few seconds. Notice keeping the back nice and straight, not arching the back too much or pinching in the back in any way. Trying to keep the body stable. When we go onto that 1 leg, we've got to resist that temptation to twist or fall to one side, and that's what makes it such a great stabiliser exercise for the hip. Alright? Then the last exercise, even though there are many, but remember this is a level 1 exercise video, is we call a lateral leg raise. Now with this one, it's laying on our side like we did in the first exercise, but you'll notice as we do that, we're keeping our body nice and straight, the legs aren't in that bent or crooked position. With the key with this exercise is to roll a little bit forward, okay? So you start perfectly on your side and then roll a little bit forward. What that does is it brings the muscle at the back of the glute into the game. We can hang onto the side of the table, put your hand flat on the bed or on the floor, depending on where you're doing the exercise. And then the other key is to keep this foot pointing towards the floor. We don't want to lift it up towards the sky, because as soon as we do that, we start to roll backwards and we start to use these front muscles. So we keep that pointing down, and then we gently lift up and down like so. And as we do that, we'll feel that the buttocks muscles, the upper glutes, will be doing a lot of the work as we lift up and down. And we just move nice and slowly as so. If, again, you're feeling it through the front, it means you're not far enough forward. Make sure we keep the knee nice and straight. One of the big problems I see people is they bend that knee and start to come up and down like so. So you really want to make sure we're going up nice and straight, not arching the back, so don't try and lift too high. If you try to lift too high, you'll arch the back as we go. So nice and smooth, up and down like so. Another great little variation to this one I call the ski jump. As we lift do the lateral leg raise, I call it the ski jump movement. So effectively you have that foot come forward and then you scoop up as if your foot's jumping off a ski jump, and then up and down like so, and that really works the glute muscle as well. Again, making sure we stay rolled forward as we do it, but it's a neat little progression. And as you can imagine, to make this a little bit harder, if you like, you can simply fold up a towel and put it on your ankle or at some point down the leg, because this is quite a long lever arm. Or similarly, you can put a heat pack on there, a very small heat pack or a heavier one if you really want to work much harder with it. And you can do any of those movements like your ski jump variation or just going straight up and down, still maintaining that toe pointing down as we do it. So you can see a neat little series of exercises there. The numbers that you do can vary depending on what's required of you. But remembering this is a simple level 1 exercises that we can easily make a little bit more difficult by adding extra resistance and so forth. But it's certainly something that is going to be great to get you started, and it's great to have a resource like this to keep referring to.